Hi. I have a couple of different questions that are all going to be intertwined. So I keep hearing a lot about early intervention is very important. My son is in 8th grade and was just diagnosed in January after I demanded a neuropsych from the school as a severe dyslexic. He is decoding at a 2nd grade level, however, has straight A's and B's. I have been told since 1st grade when he had his first IEP that he's just a little bit behind, he'll catch up. And when you said that, my head was about to get on fire because that's what I've been told for the last 8 years, that I'm overreacting. There's nothing wrong. Boys mature later than girls. You can't compare him to your nieces, etc. So now I have an 8th grade boy who no longer wants to go to school, who is riddled with anxiety, who is the greatest kid in the world. If he were here and watched the movie, he would have the most intuitive questions that I can't even believe come out of his mouth. So my question is this: as a parent who has been told for 8 years, there's really nothing wrong with your son, except for one teacher who kind of tried to hint to me over the years, but I believe was too afraid to give me what she really thought. And I didn't know at the time what I should have picked up on. What should I do as a parent now of an 8th grader that is just a newly diagnosed severe dyslexic in terms of how to hold the school accountable and what I could do to make sure that he gets everything he needs? I'm part of Decoding Dyslexia. I'm part of every single support group that I have found online, etc. But in your expert opinion, what additional advice that I may not have uncovered on my own could you give me at this time?
Okay, that's a big question. Who wants to jump in first?
I would say, as a parent and not an educator, I would focus on his intervention first and foremost, because you really need to work on getting the services that he's missed and trying to repair that.
And for example, in terms of intervention, right now the school is telling me the intervention that's best is having him sit in front of Read Naturally to make sure he gets up to 120 words per minute. That's his intervention.
I agree with Kelly. He needs the intervention. It's never too late. I always talk to parents of older students. It is never too late. And he needs to know how to decode so
Right.
he can at least attack the words. And at the same time, you want to make sure he's exposed to the content because he can't lose out on the opportunity
Right.
to learn what his peers are learning. So assistive technology can be extremely important to make sure he has that exposure. But it's never too late, and get a good assistive technology eval because that makes all the difference. Getting somebody who knows assistive tech and what he will respond to. I think, what else?
I actually want to jump in, having worked actually in a regional district that was 7 to 12, so there was a lot of collaboration between the middle school and the high school.
He's in a 7 through 12.
Pardon?
He's in a 7 through 12.
Okay. A couple of things. I think the assistive technology is very important, and it's actually advanced so much in the recent years that many students already, they just automatically receive like a notebook, Google Chrome Read and Write, and that you can use that to access any text, anything on the internet. He can have his own papers read back to him through it. But the other thing that I want to mention is I agree with Margie 110% that it's never too late to work on the decoding piece, but you have to work on it in a way that is specific to his interests. I had a young man when I was teaching in high school who flatly refused to receive any kind of reading services. But he came to my academic study, and we read the sports pages. He was a phenomenal baseball player, and fortunately, because I did have the reading background, I was able to do the decoding and the word attack lessons. I learned a lot about baseball. He learned a little bit about word attack, but I learned a lot about baseball. So I think that's really important too.
Hi. So when I was in 8th grade, I was also struggling like your son, where I was smart, but I was very, very, very behind in reading to the point where I didn't know what to do. I was told that, I had to read my, the fiction books that everyone else is reading in class. But the one thing that was actually helping me read, the one thing that allowed me to become the reader that I am, is I had a deep interest in learning nonfiction, as an example. And by reading nonfiction on my own, that was something that actually excited me. And by doing that, that gave me the motivation to want to then take that into reading the books that I had to read in class. So the combination of that and also learning that I'm an auditory learner, that's another story. But really the nonfiction books were the game changer for me. I don't know if your son has a special interest in a hobby or something, but finding books that have to do with something he's passionate about will be a total game changer.
That again is a superpower. Finding a superpower and you take the disability and you make the ability.